What if I told you that Edgar Cayce, America's most documented psychic, discovered a simple bedtime ritual that could literally shield your soul from spiritual attack while you sleep? And what if this same ritual, performed by thousands of people for over 80 years, has been secretly protecting souls from dark entities that prey on the vulnerable during our most defenseless hours? I'm about to reveal the exact bedtime protection technique that Cayce channeled in reading 5749-14, given to a desperate mother whose child was being tormented by nightmares so terrifying that doctors couldn't explain them. What happened next will shake you to your core, because this wasn't just about bad dreams. This was about spiritual warfare happening in dimensions most people don't even know exist. Before we dive into these life-changing revelations that could transform your spiritual safety forever, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. What you're about to discover has been hidden from mainstream consciousness for decades, and you'll want to share this protection with everyone you care about. Have you ever woken up feeling drained, like something invisible had been feeding on your energy all night? Have you experienced dreams so dark and disturbing that they felt more real than your waking life? Have you sensed an evil presence in your bedroom that made your skin crawl with unexplained terror? Keep those experiences in mind, because Edgar Cayce's readings reveal that these aren't random occurrences. They're spiritual attacks, and tonight, I'm going to show you exactly how to stop them. Edgar Cayce wasn't just any psychic. For over 40 years, from 1901 to 1944, this humble man from Kentucky entered deep trance states over 14,000 documented times, accessing what he called the universal mind to provide healing, guidance, and protection for desperate souls worldwide. But nothing prepared his stenographer Gladys Davis for what she would record during reading 5749-14, when Cayce revealed the most powerful spiritual protection ritual ever channeled. The reading began like any other. Cayce lay on his simple couch, loosened his tie, folded his hands across his stomach, and entered the mysterious trance state that had made him legendary. But when he began speaking about spiritual protection during sleep, his voice carried an urgency that his secretary had rarely heard before. According to Cayce's readings, every single night when you fall asleep, your soul becomes vulnerable in ways that most people never imagine. Your conscious mind, which normally acts as a spiritual guardian, relaxes its defenses. Your protective mental barriers lower. And in that defenseless state, your soul sends out what Cayce called spiritual vibrations that can attract both benevolent and malevolent entities from other dimensions. Here's what will shock you about what Cayce discovered. In reading 262-89, he explained that dark entities specifically target sleeping humans because our souls are partially separated from our physical bodies during dream states. These entities, which he described as earthbound spirits and lower astral beings, feed on human life force energy. They attach themselves to unprotected souls like spiritual parasites, draining vitality and implanting negative thoughts and images that manifest as nightmares, depression, and unexplained fear. But wait, there's something even more disturbing that Cayce revealed in reading 1947-3. He explained that these spiritual attacks aren't random. Dark entities are drawn to specific types of people: those who are spiritually sensitive, children with pure souls, individuals going through emotional trauma, and anyone developing psychic abilities become prime targets for these nocturnal spiritual predators. Let me share with you a documented case that perfectly illustrates this phenomenon. In 1943, a woman from Norfolk, Virginia, contacted Cayce in desperation. Her 8-year-old daughter had been experiencing nightmares so intense that the child refused to sleep alone. Each night, the little girl would wake up screaming about dark figures standing around her bed, trying to pull her soul away from her body. Multiple doctors examined the child and found nothing physically wrong, dismissing the experiences as childhood imagination. But when Cayce entered his trance state to investigate, what he revealed in reading 3124 sent chills through everyone present. The child's natural psychic sensitivity had made her visible to lower astral entities that were indeed attempting to attach themselves to her pure soul energy. These beings fed on the terror they created, growing stronger with each nightmare they inflicted. The situation was becoming more dangerous each night as the entities grew bolder and more aggressive. This is when Cayce channeled the sacred bedtime protection ritual that would change everything. The technique he revealed wasn't just about saying prayers or thinking positive thoughts. This was a specific, step-by-step spiritual technology designed to create an impenetrable barrier around your soul during sleep. The first component of Cayce's protection ritual involves what he called spiritual house cleaning. According to reading 5749-14, negative entities are attracted to spaces that hold heavy emotional energy. Arguments, fear, anger, and depression create what Cayce described as spiritual residue that clings to your bedroom like invisible contamination. Before you can protect your soul during sleep, you must cleanse your sleeping environment of these negative vibrations. Cayce instructed that you begin by standing in the center of your bedroom and speaking aloud a specific cleansing invocation. This isn't just symbolic. According to his readings, spoken words carry vibrational power that can literally dispel negative spiritual energy. The exact words Cayce channeled create sound frequencies that dark entities cannot tolerate, forcing them to flee from your sleeping space. But here's where Cayce's ritual becomes truly powerful. The second component involves creating what he called a circle of white light protection. This isn't visualization or imagination. Cayce explained that focused intention combined with specific mental imagery actually generates protective spiritual energy that forms a barrier around your physical and astral bodies. The technique requires you to sit on the edge of your bed facing east, which Cayce said aligns your soul with the spiritual forces of light and renewal. You then close your eyes and visualize brilliant white light emanating from your heart center, expanding outward until it forms a protective sphere completely surrounding your bed and bedroom. But here's the crucial part that most people miss. Cayce emphasized that this light must be charged with what he called Christ consciousness, the highest spiritual vibration available to human souls. The documented case of the terrorized child in Norfolk proves how effective this protection can be. After her mother implemented Cayce's bedtime ritual exactly as instructed, the nightmares stopped immediately. The child began sleeping peacefully through the night, and her natural psychic abilities developed in healthy, positive ways, rather than making her vulnerable to spiritual attack. But Cayce's protection ritual includes a third component that's even more powerful than the first two. He revealed that certain prayers, when spoken with proper intention and understanding, create what he called spiritual armor that protects the soul during its nightly journey through astral dimensions. These aren't ordinary religious prayers, but specific invocations that Cayce channeled directly from higher spiritual sources. In reading 281-6, Cayce explained that the most powerful protection prayer begins with acknowledging your soul's divine nature and requesting protection from the highest spiritual authorities. The exact words create a vibrational signature that announces to all spiritual entities that your soul is under divine protection and cannot be harmed or interfered with. Here's what makes this protection prayer so extraordinary, according to Cayce's readings. When spoken with sincere faith and proper understanding, it doesn't just protect you for one night. It creates what Cayce called a spiritual shield that grows stronger with each use, eventually making your soul completely invisible to lower astral entities while attracting benevolent spiritual guides who watch over you during sleep. The documented results of this prayer are remarkable. Cayce's files contain hundreds of testimonials from people who experienced immediate relief from nightmares, spiritual oppression, and nocturnal attacks after implementing his bedtime protection ritual. Many reported not just peaceful sleep, but prophetic dreams, healing visions, and direct communication with deceased loved ones. once their souls were properly protected. But there's a fourth component to Cayce's ritual that he revealed only in his most advanced readings. This technique involves programming your subconscious mind with specific protective intentions before entering sleep. According to reading 5754-2, your subconscious mind remains active during sleep and can be trained to maintain spiritual vigilance even when your conscious awareness is dormant. The technique requires you to repeat specific affirmations while in the twilight state between waking and sleeping. These affirmations, which Cayce received directly from spiritual sources, instruct your subconscious mind to reject any negative spiritual influences and accept only guidance from the highest spiritual realms. What makes this fourth component so powerful is that it works automatically throughout the night. Once you've programmed these protective commands into your subconscious, your sleeping mind becomes like a spiritual security system that never turns off. Dark entities attempting to approach your soul encounter immediate resistance, while your spiritual defenses remain active even during your deepest sleep cycles. The most remarkable case demonstrating this technique comes from reading 1472-8, documented in 1944. A businessman from Richmond had been experiencing what he described as soul-crushing nightmares for months. Each morning, he woke up more exhausted than when he went to bed, as if something had been draining his life force all night. His work performance suffered, his relationships deteriorated, and he began having thoughts of ending his own life. When Cayce investigated this man's condition, he revealed something that shocked everyone present. A deceased former business partner, who had died harboring intense resentment over a failed deal, was spiritually attached to the man's soul. This earthbound spirit was feeding on his victim's energy every night, growing stronger while its host grew weaker. The situation had become so severe that the entity was beginning to influence the man's thoughts and decisions during waking hours. But here's where Cayce's complete bedtime ritual proved its incredible power. After implementing all four components of the protection technique for just 1 week, the spiritual attachment was completely severed. The businessman reported sleeping peacefully for the first time in months. His energy returned, and his life began improving dramatically. Most remarkably, he began having dreams where his deceased partner appeared to apologize and express gratitude for being freed from the earthbound state that had trapped his soul. This case illustrates something profound that Cayce taught about spiritual protection. When you properly shield your own soul, you're not just protecting yourself, you're also helping trapped spirits find their way to higher dimensions where they belong. Your spiritual light becomes a beacon that guides lost souls toward healing and peace. But there's one final element to Cayce's bedtime ritual that he reserved for his most serious cases. In reading 3744-4, he revealed a technique for creating what he called a permanent spiritual sanctuary around your sleeping space. This involves consecrating your bedroom, using specific actions and intentions that transform the entire room into sacred space that negative entities simply cannot enter. The process begins with removing all objects from your bedroom that carry negative emotional associations. Cayce explained that personal belongings hold psychic imprints of the experiences associated with them. Items connected to arguments, failed relationships, illness, or trauma continue radiating negative energy that attracts unwanted spiritual attention. Next, you must cleanse the room using what Cayce called the 4 elements purification. This involves burning sage or frankincense to purify the air element, sprinkling blessed salt in the corners to purify the earth element, placing a bowl of pure water near your bed to purify the water element, and lighting a white candle to purify the fire element. When combined with specific prayers, this creates a powerful spiritual cleansing that removes all negative influences from your sleeping space. The final step involves what Cayce called spiritual boundary setting. You must walk around your bedroom clockwise 3 times while visualizing protective white light sealing every window, door, and opening. As you walk, you speak aloud a declaration that this space is consecrated for rest, healing, and spiritual communion with the highest divine forces only. Here's what makes this sanctuary creation so remarkable according to Cayce's readings. Once properly established, this protection doesn't just last for one night or even 1 week. The spiritual boundaries you create become permanent features of your sleeping space that continue protecting you indefinitely. Many of Cayce's clients reported that their bedrooms took on an almost sacred atmosphere where they felt completely safe and spiritually nourished. The documented evidence for the effectiveness of Cayce's complete bedtime ritual is overwhelming. The Association for Research and Enlightenment archives contain over 200 cases where people experienced immediate relief from spiritual attacks, nightmares, and nocturnal disturbances after implementing his protection techniques. Many reported additional benefits, including prophetic dreams, accelerated healing, and enhanced psychic abilities once their souls were properly shielded during sleep. But perhaps most importantly, Cayce's bedtime ritual offers something that no amount of medical treatment or psychological therapy can provide. It addresses the spiritual dimension of sleep disturbances that conventional approaches completely ignore. When dark entities are feeding on your soul energy, no earthly remedy can solve the problem. Only spiritual protection can restore the peaceful, restorative sleep that your soul desperately needs. As we conclude this exploration of Edgar Cayce's sacred bedtime protection ritual, remember that what I've shared with you tonight isn't just information. It's a practical spiritual technology that has protected thousands of souls for over 80 years. The techniques Cayce channeled come from the highest spiritual sources and carry the power to transform your sleep from a time of vulnerability into a period of divine protection and spiritual renewal. Tonight, before you close your eyes, take a moment to implement even one component of Cayce's ritual. Cleanse your bedroom of negative energy. Surround yourself with protective white light. Speak the prayers that create spiritual armor around your soul. Program your subconscious mind to reject all negative influences while you sleep. Your soul's safety during these vulnerable nighttime hours is not something to leave to chance. The spiritual realm is real, the dangers are genuine, and the protection Cayce revealed is your divine birthright. Don't spend another night defenseless against forces that seek to drain your life force and implant fear in your consciousness. If this information has opened your eyes to the reality of spiritual protection during sleep, please subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our upcoming videos exploring more of Edgar Cayce's profound spiritual teachings. Share this video with anyone you know who struggles with nightmares, sleep disturbances, or unexplained fear during nighttime hours. Your sharing could literally save someone's soul from spiritual attack. Remember, as Edgar Cayce taught in his readings, we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and our souls need protection just as much as our physical bodies do. Sweet dreams, and may your soul find perfect peace and divine protection in the sacred sanctuary of properly guarded sleep.